Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk. Welcome back to another convention review. It is 5:30 in the morning on Friday, June 2nd. I am going to go meet my boy and we're going to drive up to Rochester, New York, so that way we can go to IntergalacticCon and meet some old school Star Wars actors that we don't get to see much around here in the United States. So, yeah, stay tuned and enjoy this trip up to New York. Hey guys, how are you doing? Didn't get a chance to record us arriving at the convention, but I just wanted to start going over my thoughts. So me and my buddy Eric, we got to the convention. We got to Rochester early. We got there about 12:30, and then we decided to go to eat because the convention didn't open at 2 o'clock. So we decided to go, and we got there about say 1:45 or so, not really late, and we waited in line because we had VIP badges, but on Friday VIP didn't give you anything special. And so what really happened is we got there, they were not ready. They finally set the booth up sometime after 2 o'clock. It wasn't very late, but they didn't have any of the VIP packages ready to go. They didn't really have any scheduling. They didn't have anything really ready. They brought the table out after 2 o'clock to set up. So we got in. We got our wristband. That's really all I really cared for, because I don't really care for the VIP packages too much. It's nice to have a VIP lounge and maybe a duffel bag or a bag or something like that. But the crowd was very, very sparse, especially Friday. I wasn't expecting too much though. This is a first year con. The guy that ran it, he wasn't really experienced in this size of a con, though it wasn't really that big compared to some of the other cons we went to. But yeah, it was very, very sparse. I wasn't expecting, I had like 20 autographs I wanted to get. I think I got like 21, 22. But yeah, I got all of them but like two on Friday. And even though this con was very sparse, at least in my opinion, I had a blast here. I'm going to say we got to see the guests, and because there wasn't a big crowd on Friday, we got to talk to them and really just kind of like hear their stories and bond with them and just be like one-on-one for long periods of time. I probably made 3 really good connections there. I had fun with them. I kept coming back up to their tables and talking to them because that's how it was. Like, you got to walk up to every single guest. Like, there was no line. I think I maybe once or twice did I have to wait behind someone because I was trying to or get their autograph. But overall, there was nothing to stop you. And the sad thing too is that the vendor hall was not that well filled out. You can see in these videos that it was in an ice rink, which in my opinion, it doesn't matter one way or another. An ice rink is an ice rink. You can fill it up. You can fill that space. But my friend Kevin Lyle was there for Norse Legion. And you can see him right there. There's my friend Kevin. And, he was probably the only real big vendor there. I was very, very surprised that we didn't have a lot more vendors there because they seemed to be all like local and just had some knickknacks and stuff like that. And the artists, there's a few artists there, especially ones that did the con, but it wasn't really very populated. So it was a very, very interesting take. And so, we got there at 2:00, and I think me and my friend left Friday about 6:30ish, I believe. And we went and we got dinner or we went back to our house. We got an Airbnb because it was just cheaper overall. And we went out, got some dinner, and then headed back to the house. And then we got up early on Saturday. We hooked up. Our other friend had come in. Him and his friend came in on flew in on Friday and went out and did some other stuff, but didn't hook up with us until that evening. And so we all got in the car, went to breakfast. And by that time, it was close to being open. Like, me and Eric could get in at 9:00, but my other friend Virgil couldn't get in because he just bought the single Saturday pass, and which is all well and good, especially here, because again, Saturday there was no line to get in. Like when we got there, there was nobody lined up. There was nobody waiting to get into this con, which is very, very strange. And again, as you can see in this footage, there was just nobody there. The crowds were, I'd say, a little bit bigger, but nobody was really there. They were saying that there's 1,000 people overall that attended this con. I don't know if that number is correct, to tell you the truth. But yeah, and then now, this is Monday when I'm recording this voiceover, and I gotta say now, I'm hearing other things have been happening too. So first, let's just get into some of my critiques. When we got there on Friday, there was nothing set up, not even for us, not for even the guests. Like, the guests overseas were told not to bring any of their 8x10s, not told to bring any of their Sharpies or signing utensils because the con would provide them for them. And talking to other guests, I guess that is the standard to go to, is that when you're coming from overseas, so that way you're not hauling all this crap with you, that the con will provide it for you. There were very few tables where they didn't have tablecloths, they didn't have signage, so trying to find out who the guest is that you're looking for was very hard and difficult to do. unless you're like me, pretty much getting everybody. So there was very little signage, no, very, or not no, but very little 8 by 10. Some of them got to the table and there was nothing there for them yet. And the con was opening up. And literally while I'm standing there, con organizers would be coming and putting like a couple of 8 by 10s on the table. And there were some nice 8 by 10s when they finally got them. But the simple fact that they should have had these printed out days before and ready to go by Friday was just, this is unsat for them. And even the pins, like I carry around a bag of my pins because I like the paint pins. I think they're a little bit nicer. And it's just a better experience of like, hey, can you use this pin? Just in case too, because sometimes, depending on the guest, they're not that in the know on pins and signages and stuff like that. So they just get the regular old Sharpies, which are fine, but they don't know some of the finer points. And actually a couple of other guests, they're like, oh, we only have this standard Sharpie, and it wasn't really doing it that good for the posters and stuff like that. And I remembered I had an extra silver paint pen. I was like, hey, you wanna have this one? And we just made jokes about it back and forth all every time I showed up to them. And that's how they were. They were very talkative. That's one of the best things of these cons was that you got to spend time to talk with these people. And the three people I really connected with pretty much are two of the Ewoks, Brian Wheeler and Andy Hurd, were just hilarious. Those guys were just, oh man, we laughed and talked for I don't know how long, always. And I'd move aside whenever someone came up to that wanted an autograph, or I'd go walk around. But they were like just bosom buddies. It was just great to be with them and talk to them and hear some of their stories. And then Susan Malik, who is one of the Jawas in The Mandalorian, plus like she's got so many other roles too. She was a trip, and she had me rolling and dying every time I was talking to her. She is great. If you want to follow her on Instagram, her handle is one short bitch. That's the one as the number short bitch. She was very funny indeed. But now I'm hearing, though, from numerous sources that this con, and as much as I wanted to succeed, was kind of run shadily. I'm hearing that con guests were asked to vacate their hotel room because there was not enough money to pay the bill. I heard that that their guarantees were not even being covered, and that supposedly the cops were being called. I don't know. I've been hearing this from multiple sources, though. This is very crazy. This is not how a con should be run. It's sad to hear that a con is happening that way, because it really should be more organized, and it just doesn't seem that it was that way. And this con wasn't advertised properly. Social media wasn't advertised. Guys, let me tell you, when you have like 20 Star Wars guests and like 18 of them are original trilogy guests that are primarily living in England, that don't come to the United States. A lot of these people were their first time in this United States. And it was in Rochester, New York. And there's not a line out the door of Star Wars autograph hunters trying to track them down or be there to get their autographs. Is really piss poor management, in my opinion. That convention should have been filled to the rafters with Star Wars fans trying to meet them, because the simple fact is that we do not get those type of guests over here a lot. And the simple fact that there was I'm going to say less than 1,000 people there for this convention is bad advertising, bad planning. I get it. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, but you need to know when to ask for help. There are tons of people out there that can help you out in these convention scenarios. And just the simple fact that you somehow got all these people to come to your convention, flew across the pond to come here, and then you can't pay their guarantees, you can't pay their hotel room. The con is pretty much dead. Like, I enjoyed it just because I could do what I needed to do and there wasn't any hassle, like standing in line for an hour just to wait for one guest. That's great, but you got to be able to have that sustainability. Like, I would have gone back to this convention if there was another one next year, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. And even if you do, I think every guest that was there would probably tell all their friends and coworkers to not work with this guy again, because not having enough attendance there to make it worth your while, I can see them giving you a second chance. But when you're physically kicking them out of their room, or their stuff is being held because there's not enough money to pay for their hotel room, or you're not even meeting their guarantee for attending this convention, again, that is very, very, very bad business practice at all. So, man. But again, this was fun for me as the congoer, for the autograph hunter, to be able to meet these people that I probably will never see again, because who knows when the next time is they'll come to the States. But if I get that chance, I'll definitely go see them again, because I had so much fun talking to these people. Don't know if it's going to be IntergalacticCon though, just because of everything that I hear coming out of this after this con now, which is very sad, because this con had all it needed to do to succeed. I just think the showrunner just was over his head, didn't plan properly, didn't figure out what he would need to make the show successful. Even if you didn't have money to advertise, you should have been able to utilize social media to your advantage. You had some very unique and rare Star Wars actors in the United States for the first time. That should have been it. That should have been enough to draw enough people to pay everybody that you needed to pay or break even. But guys, that is, pretty much, I'm not going to stop rambling there, because that is it. Like, I had fun. I'm glad I met Brian Wheeler. I'm glad I met Andy Hurd. I'm glad I met Suzanne Malik. And I'm glad I met everybody that was there. It was a great time as an autograph hunter when the crowds weren't there, and you could spend time listening to some great Star Wars stories. But yeah, I feel for the celebrity guests, because they should not have to go through what they went through. That's just piss poor management. But guys, thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see here, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It does help my channel out greatly, and I do truly appreciate it. But that is all I have time for today. I'll see you in the next review.